Hi, I'm Chip Rogers, and welcome to the AAHOA Educational Experience. This week we continue our discussion on the issue of franchising, and more specifically, the Universal Franchisee Bill of Rights. Joining me today are my guests. We'll begin right here to my right with C.K. Patel, who is the co-chair of the Coalition of Franchisee Associations. He is also the immediate past president of the Asian American Hotel Owners Association. And next to him, sitting in the middle, Laura Lee Blake, who is the vice president of Fair Franchising, along with Government Affairs and General Counsel, thank you, and Alkesh Patel, who is the Secretary of the CFA. He's also the Vice Chair and the incoming President for AAHOA. So thank you, gentlemen and lady, for being with us today.
Thank you.
We talked in the last show about the general idea of franchising, the franchisor, the franchisee, the relationship, and how at times it can become strained, even though everyone has the same ultimate goal. It's important for our viewers to know we're talking about a franchise industry in whole, or the sector of the economy that includes 18 million jobs, or 14% of the private sector, 760,000 businesses. And I want to start on this show with Laura Lee, because Laura Lee, the Coalition of Franchisee Associations put together this Universal Franchisee Bill of Rights. It took quite some time, and if you think about the diverse groups and businesses that really came together, from the food industry to the automobile repair industry, to the personal care, to the hotel industry, that could all come together behind it. That's pretty amazing, because that doesn't happen too often. But I know that this has been out there now for a few months, and a large number of groups have signed on and said, yes, we support the Universal Franchisee Bill of Rights. Give us an idea of how many and who we're talking about.
Well, so far we have 520 endorsements, and this includes both public endorsements as well as individual endorsements. But we also have 12 ratifications, and these are by franchisee associations. So of course, AAHOA, Asian American Hotel Owners Association, we have strongly ratified and endorsed this with our 10,000 members, more than 10,000 members. The Buffalo Wings National Franchisee Association, the Coalition of Franchisee Associations, we also have the Dunkin' Donuts Independent Franchisee Owners, the Econo Lodge Franchisee Association, also known as ALPHA. We have Edible Arrangements, their franchisee association, the Independent Hardee's Franchisee Association, the Independent Organization of Little Caesars, the pizzerias franchisees, the Meineke Dealers Association, the National Franchisee Association for Burger King, the North American Association of Subway Franchisees, and the Owners Aid Association. So you can tell just from that list, we have hoteliers, we have restaurateurs, we have, auto care franchisees who have all recognized that there are tensions between the franchisors and franchisees, that there's an unbalanced relationship, and it's time to have a Bill of Rights to bring back the parties for the benefit of the franchise systems overall. So we're very excited to see how this is growing. I mean, almost every week there's new endorsements and ratifications of the Bill of Rights.
And what would ultimately be, I guess, the goal of the franchisees in doing this is to have these items that we're going through contained in every contract. So every time that a franchisee or prospective franchisee wants to sign a contract, they know they're going to get these items included. Boy, that would make a lot less heartburn, so to speak. Alkesh, we talked in the last show about the first two, freedom of association and good faith and fair dealing. The third Bill of Rights item is the uniform application of brand standards. And I guess this means that a franchisor would say to all franchisees, we're going to treat you all the same as far as our brand standards are concerned. Is that what this means?
Well, what it means is that not only the brand standard, so if any of the franchisor wants to have a brand standard, that's part of it in the agreement. What we are saying is that brand standards, no problem. But when you have a product, for example, if you want, in the hotel industry, if you want the consistent towels, consistent beds, consistent product, then you put the specs out. So you say that, okay, in every hotel, in certain franchise, which with a certain name, that you have to have 300 coil plus beds. And that's what we are saying. Give us a spec, and then as a franchisee, we should be able to go and get that product for a best price that we can go out and get it, right? When franchisor not only puts the standards, but when they put the name with it, then you can't go out and get it from someone else. So the price point wise, you don't get the best price. So like for example, towels, you know, if for the particular brand, if you are putting a spec of how to use a 12 ounce towels or 12 pounds or whatever, you know, or this many thread counts of sheets, then that's the specs that we expect, not the name. That when you come and say you have to buy it from the XYZ distributor, then you can't get the best price from there, you know, and they go out and make that, and the rebates and stuff is passed on to the franchisor, and in turn the franchisee don't get it. And that's why AAHOA is starting the e-procurement program, where we can go out and negotiate the best price for all the franchisees.
And CK, I guess this is a way for a franchisor to really make more money off of the franchisee by saying not only do the products you purchase for consumption or for sale have to be at this standard, they have to be actually this exact name or this exact product, so that they get some they earn some money off of this. Yes,
income out of that.
Yeah.
So
And uniform application of brand standards, what we are saying that if somebody is multi-property owner and somebody just one hotel location, treat them both the same. Don't give a favorable treatment to multi-property owner and the single property owner, or if you're company-owned properties, right? If you throw out any standards out there, just make it consistent throughout the franchise system what you have, right? Don't give a preferential treatment to the developer, big developers versus the small guys. So there are a lot of things involving in that, in uniform application of the product or the standards what
right.
to give out, right? And what Alkesh is talking about, he said it very well, that we need to do that, make sure that the franchisors give a standard that this is the product we need, these are the standard, and allow any manufacturer out there to manufacture that to that standard and create a marketplace where they can create the competition and the franchisees can benefit from that, not the franchisor. Right now the franchisors are benefiting it out of because they are mandating few vendors only.
Right.
So that needs to be changed.
All right, we've got to take a quick time out, but a lot more to talk about with the Universal Franchisee Bill of Rights, and we'll do that coming up right after this. Welcome back to the AAHOA Educational Experience. I'm Chip Rogers. We are talking about franchising, and more specifically, the Universal Franchisee Bill of Rights. My guests this week include C.K. Patel, Laura Lee Blake, and Alkesh Patel. Thank you for being with us. Let us move on to the next item, and it is full disclosure regarding fees collected from franchisees. Laura Lee, this is a big issue because you have a franchisee who is required by the contract to give money or fees to the franchisor, and the franchisees are saying, we understand we have to get money, but we sure would like a full accounting of how that money is being spent. Is this an accurate description?
Yes, it is. And over the years, AAHOA has actually had great success with a lot of the franchisors on their marketing fees because our members are required to pay a certain percentage of marketing fees. And so they have worked with the franchisee associations, their FACs, to do full financial disclosures of how the marketing fees are spent. And we've continued to challenge them. At times they won't release it to all franchisees, but maybe they'll release it to a special group who's under some sort of confidentiality agreement, but at least they're able to see it and understand, are the marketing fees really going for marketing purposes, or are they going for the executive salaries, which raises concerns. The area that we are most challenged on right now are the rewards programs. Each of the franchisors in the hotel industry, they have rewards programs for the guests that stay at their hotels. And we seem to struggle with getting answers on how is the money that's collected as a result of these rewards programs being spent. And in the hotel industry, if a guest is a member of that franchisor's rewards programs and stays at the hotel owner is required to pay 5% back to the franchisor. And of course, then the guest can collect points. They can use the points for free night stays at other, same brand properties. They can use it nowadays to in the retail world to buy electronics, to maybe go to other stores and reap rewards. But there seems to be no accounting of where is this 5% going, how is it being spent, you know, how are they dealing with the points, do they expire, the guest points expire. So we struggle right now with getting answers to those questions, and we'll continue to pursue that. But that's what this point addresses, is full disclosure regarding the fees that are being collected from the franchisees to make sure they're being used in a proper manner.
And Alkesh, to Laura Lee's point, as you look at the different type of fees, I guess it would really differ from business to business, but clearly in the hotel industry, the rewards programs, I mean, that is big business. We're talking about a lot of money. This is not a small item, and I assume that's why it's so important to know how is this money being collected, how is it being spent, because it's really having an impact on the individual hotel owner.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the franchisee pays for it. This is not like franchisor allocates certain funds to start with. Franchisee starts with these, and every billings, every franchisee pay for it. So it's about transparency. They want to know is every dollar that franchisee pays as a fee for the marketing and stuff is spent right. And recently, Quiznos franchisee, this was an issue. The marketing money was not getting spent right, and there was a big lawsuit. And even though the lawsuit got settled and whatever happened, they spent all the marketing money to fight these lawsuits. And you can see now, never, I mean, 3-4 years back or 5 years back, you saw so much marketing money that was spent. You see TV advertising and all that. You don't see that now because they use the franchisees' money to fight the lawsuit. And now the franchisee is suffering because there is no money to market the product. So transparency is very important. And if the money is collected to market the product, then that's where it should be used. There should be minimum administrative costs. If there is, then franchisee has a right to review it, and then if it's excessively being spent somewhere that it shouldn't be, then they have a voice that they can address and make it right,
The next item is perhaps the one that kind of jumps off the page at me as being the most common sense, easy to understand item, and that is the right to price. And this may not be a real big issue in the hotel industry, but certainly for some of the restaurateurs that are involved as franchisees, this has become a major issue. We know of one in specifically where the franchisor is telling the franchisee to sell a product at a price below what it cost them to provide that product. And of course, if they did that for all of their products, you would effectively put them out of business.
Right. And like you say, in the hotel industry, it is not relevant, but in the food industry and other industry, and since this is a coalition of franchisee coming together, so everybody's rights are in there, which is hurting them. And this is one of the thing in the food industry and in the car industry. The franchisors are mandating that you sell this burger for $1.20 versus the cost to the franchisee is $1.99. So that's a big discrepancy right there. Now the franchisors are always making money on the top line, so even though they are making you sell the product for $1.20, they're still making their royalties on the money what you collected. So you're paying it twice, you're losing money more than you're making on it. So and that's what that comes in the place that let the franchisee determine how much they want to charge, so they can determine their return on investment on the product what they're selling. And that's what that point is all about. So it has to be fairness there.
And Laura Lee, we've got just a couple of minutes left. I would think, in a way, that this right to price should almost be incorporated in good faith and fair dealing. If a franchisor is forcing, through the mechanism of the contract, a franchisee to take an action which they know will lose money, to sell a product at a price below what it costs, you can't continually do that. And I would assume, wouldn't the courts look at that and say, no, you can't force anybody to really kill their own business is effectively what they're trying to do in a way.
And that's absolutely correct. And that's why I know there was a lawsuit that arose out of at least one of these examples where the franchisor was setting the price. And you understand from the flip side, the franchisor is saying to the franchisees, this was a marketing promotion. And so, yes, maybe you lost a few cents on a burger, but look at how many people then visited your property, bought your soda, bought your fries. So there is a difficult situation there, but yet when they unveil these marketing programs without the knowledge and approval of the franchisees, that kind of goes along with what you were mentioning, the good faith and fair dealing. If they had disclosed it, had gotten the blessing from the franchisees going in, that yes, we recognize this as a marketing promotional idea, I think that they could have worked through some of these issues. And in the hotel industry, you know, we don't see it specifically this way, but I just had a conversation with a franchisor earlier this week, and they were talking about how they are now visiting some of their properties, especially in this economy, and telling them that if you don't raise your room rates, you're not going to be able to survive in our market. We are imposing additional amenities. We're trying to raise the standard of the hotel. So they're doing it in subtle ways as well, basically saying if your room rates aren't high enough, you're not going to be competing with our brand anymore. So it's coming at the franchisees from a number of different areas.
And that really almost relates, it's amazing how some of these relate back to some of the other topics we talked about, freedom of association. I can imagine that if you have a strong association, the message is going to be delivered to the franchisor. Look, this is not what, you know, we're going to help you with your marketing, but don't market and lay down a price that we can't live with, because that's not a long-term pathway to success.
And then that's why you need an independent franchisee association who has a voice.
Right.
And that's very, very key that you have to have independent association to talk about this.
Well, we are out of time for this show, but we've got more to talk about with the Universal Franchisee Bill of Rights, and it really strikes at the heart of a relationship between two major players in the private sector economy, franchisors and franchisees, and there's a lot more to talk about on this, but we're out of time this time. We'll have to do it for you next week. So for Alkesh Patel, thank you for being with us, and Laura Lee Blake and C.K. Patel.
Thank you.
This is Chip Rogers with AAHOA, and if you'd like to reach me, you can reach me via email, chip@ahoa.com. That's chip@ahoa.com. Until next week, so long.